Welcome, and thanks for watching the summer edition of Tidewell Happenings. My name is Timothy Wolfram from Tidewell's Marketing and Communications Department. We come to you periodically with stories, events, and interviews that share why Tidewell Hospice is more than you think. For this edition, we come to you from Punta Gorda Airport, the site of a very special Tidewell Wishes Fund event. Stay tuned for more. But first, we have some very exciting news to share. We are thrilled to introduce Jonathan Fleece as the new CEO of Tidewell Hospice and its holding company, Stratum Health System. Mr. Fleece is no stranger to Tidewell and Stratum, having served on boards of both organizations. A Bradenton resident, Mr. Fleece is the CEO and managing partner at Blaylock Walters. He is a nationally recognized healthcare strategist, advisor, attorney, speaker, and author with a leadership record of advancing the mission of complex healthcare organizations.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Fleece. What an amazing privilege it is to meet everyone and to introduce myself as the next CEO of Stratum Health System and Tidewell Hospice. My face is familiar to some of you because I have had the honor of serving on either the Tidewell or Stratum Board of Trustees for nearly 10 years. This is a milestone moment in my life, and I accept this privilege and responsibility with a deep commitment to serving the patients, employees, board, volunteers, and donors of Stratum, Tidewell, Avidity, Approved Home Health, Connexus, and Treasures. You can start following me over social media through a variety of options. I want to hear about your ideas, suggestions, concerns, or feel free to just email me and say hello. Although I will be remaining with Blaylock Walters through the end of September, I have every intention of responding to people who reach out to me at some point in the future. I hope that you are as excited about this journey as I am. The time is now to make amazing things happen. Let's make the world a better place, one person, one family at a time. May God bless each of you, and may God bless this wonderful organization. I look forward to walking down this path together. Let's go.
Mr. Fleece will begin his new duties on October 1, 2018. He replaces Jerry Radford, who has been Tidewell's president and CEO since 2010. Jerry announced his retirement in October 2017. He has been with Tidewell for 20 years, previously serving as our Chief Financial Officer. Now back to the airport. Tidewell patient Dick DeWalt took a special flight thanks to the Wishes Fund and Harborside Aviation. Dick, now 86, was a private pilot during his days working for Ford up in Michigan. According to his son David, Dick recently expressed an interest in going on one more flight. So David and Tidewell social worker Patty Vallone worked with Harborside Aviation to plan a discovery flight.
Dad isn't one to express his feelings a lot about things, but it was always clear how much he loved flying, and he still talked about it even though he hadn't been in probably 30 or 40 years. And just a few weeks ago he was trying to help us understand something. What he was saying was, don't spend my money on cutesy things like getting my eyebrows trimmed and my nails clipped, spend it on flight instruction. We kind of laughed, and Mom said, do you want to fly? And he said, yeah, with an instructor. So we, sort of thought about it, but tucked it away. But the folks at Hospice overheard it and contacted us and said, hey, we heard that and we want to see if we can make it happen. It's what we do. And so we just turned it all over to the people at Hospice, and they were just wonderful about making all the possible arrangements. And of course, we had some hesitation about whether it was the right thing to do, but it certainly was. We had a wonderful day today.
Dick enjoyed a 20-minute flight on a beautiful sunny day with blue skies and fluffy white clouds. The plane was a Cessna 172, one of the 3 models Dick flew during his days in Michigan. David, who joined Dick on the flight, said the plane flew over Charlotte Harbor and the home Dick shared with Ann, his wife of 64 years.
Oh, it's beautiful. I hadn't been flying out in a small plane with him in 40 years either, and it's really fun. And of course, this is such a scenic area from the air. There's a lot of water, and we went out over the river and over the house I used to live on the river, and it was just absolutely beautiful. You can't imagine the impact that it has, and like my mom said, it was big for her as well. So it's definitely money well spent.
After he landed, Dick gave 2 thumbs up when asked how the flight went. The Wishes Fund, which covers the cost of celebratory events, paid for the flight and for a family lunch at the airport. Tidewell Expressive Arts facilitator Victoria Watson presented Dick and his family with a medal and a legacy board to remember the special occasion. Tidewell Hospice was honored to play a small part in a special ceremony June 1st at the Northport home of patient Robert Marth. Robert and Jessica Palmer invited family and friends to a lovely commitment ceremony. Among the attendees who filled up the home were Robert and Jessica's daughter, 2-year-old Gracie, as well as 3 of Robert's children and Jessica's son. The couple met through a mutual friend about 4 years ago and planned to get married on New Year's Eve, the anniversary of the day they met, but Robert's illness altered that plan. The Wishes Fund contributed refreshments and materials for a wonderful archway constructed by Tidewell Expressive Arts facilitator Victoria Watson. Tidewell chaplain Joe Hudson officiated the ceremony, and social worker Jennifer Petrosky, RN case manager Melinda Ellis, and Victoria also attended. Tidewell volunteer Jane Hawley provided the beautiful music with her heart. Jessica said, quote, "It has been amazing. We couldn't have done it without Tidewell. We're so honored and blessed," unquote. The Tidewell Wishes Fund also helped a patient and close friend reconnect. It all started when Tidewell social worker Patty Vallone noticed greeting cards and notes posted all around patient Linda Mellon's room. Many of the notes were from Linda Frawley.
Linda was a neighbor, my first babysitter, and as we grew up and she grew up, she was a few years ahead of me. She was the assistant to the mayor in the city, and I was working at a local university, and we collaborated and worked on a number of things. I was willing to come down, but Estelle said it wasn't the right time, so I thought this is the way I can stay in touch. So I try to send funny boxes and shop at our local dollar emporiums and just send her surprises. But most of the time it was just, scribbling a note and remembering stories, remembering escapades, and do you remember when, and I saw so-and-so, and those things that happen when you grow up in a small community.
Patty finally asked, "Who is this Linda?" When Linda Mellon's sister, Estelle Miller, explained how the sisters grew up with Linda Frawley in Lowell, Massachusetts, and how the two Lindas have long been close friends, Patty suggested a get-together. The problem? Linda Frawley lived in New Hampshire, and Linda Mellon resided at Life Care Center at Punta Gorda. But when Linda Frawley heard about the plan, she jumped on board and on a plane to head south. On June 12th, the Lindas, along with Estelle and other members of Linda Mellon's family, enjoyed a picnic in the park at Gilchrist Park in Punta Gorda.
Linda Frawley, when I picked her up at the airport, brought her to see Linda right away. Now, I had been telling Linda, she's coming, she's coming. Linda can do very little communication, but what she has, you know what she's saying. Her eyes lit up and just almost popped out of her head. And she had because of the stroke, she's unable to smile a whole lot, but she did smile. You could tell with everything she had inside of her. She was smiling, and then she had the little in her.
They all had a wonderful lunch, reminiscing about the past and enjoying Estelle's quiche. The Wishes Fund helped with the cost of refreshments. The next day, Victoria Watson worked with the two Lindas and Estelle on a keepsake project using Linda Mellon's handprints and her hat and flowers from the picnic.
She held my hand, and after the wonderful staff at Tidewell, including your Brenda, was there, she had stylists this morning and special hairdo, and they're just lovely, not a young woman from hospice. She held my hand through that, and as we were fussing with blush and lipstick, she, as only a woman would do, pursed her lips, readying. So yes, she knows I'm here.
Each month here at Tidewell, we honor one employee with the Tidewell Difference Award for the special work he or she has done on behalf of our patients and their loved ones. For the summer edition of Happenings, we have 3 Difference Award winners to recognize. Cheryl Flavin, a social worker at the Port Charlotte Hospice House, went the extra mile to find a family member of a homeless patient who passed away under Tidewell's care. Nicole Agliano, an RN in Bradenton, donned a costume and learned the words to hot dog, hot diggity dog for a young boy whose dying wish was to meet Mickey Mouse. The most recent winner was Cheryl Goody, a CNA in Port Charlotte. Cheryl formed a bond with the patient, listening to his stories about his stay in a Nazi work camp and sharing tales about her fishing excursions. When the patient moved to a Virginia hospice to be closer to his family, Cheryl presented him with a framed 5x7 photo of the two of them, per his request. The patient packed that photo in a trunk with the things that mean the most to him. CEO Jerry Radford and his prize patrol surprised the honorees at their home bases. Congratulations, ladies. Tidewell also presented the quarterly Volunteer Difference Award, presented to a volunteer who makes the Tidewell difference. Janice Treggett, who volunteers at Treasures Thrift Shop in Venice, received the award from Director of Volunteer Services Stacy Groff. Janice was nominated after she and her husband, who once owned a bookstore together, helped process and organize a donation of 500 books. The nomination read in part, quote, "Janice shows time and time again how dedicated she is to Treasures. Thank you and congratulations, Janice." And finally, Tidewell is thrilled to announce a date for the 4th annual Tidewell Hospice Turkey Trot 5K. The event will be held Saturday, November 17th, 2018 at Lakewood Ranch Main Street. For the 2nd year in a row, the Turkey Trot will benefit Tidewell patients and families in the Lakewood Ranch area. Sign up as a runner or walker, become a tribute participant, and get together to compete as a team at runfortidewellhospice.org. That's all for the summer edition of Happenings. Thank you for watching and making Tidewell Hospice more than you think.